Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Prog Report podcast interview. This is Roie. My guests today on this episode are Pontus, Åkesson, and Johan Westerlund from the Swedish band Moonsafari. Prog Nick and I got a chance to speak to them about their new album, Himlabacken Vol.2, which is out on December 8th. The first single, Between the Devil and Me, is out now, so please check it out. But before we get started, just a reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts, progreport.com, and follow us on all our socials. And now our chat with Moonsafari. Well, good to have you guys on. Have you guys met Nick before? He's been on all the cruises and he's a very big fan.
We've met on the cruises, guys. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, it
Very
would be
good.
nice.
Yeah, I think, definitely.
Very cool.
Sure.
We're great.
Well, excited to have you guys on to talk about the new album. Now, a lot of what you guys have is very, very Swedish, including the album title. So pronounce the album title correctly for everybody.
Okay.
I can do it. Himlabacken.
There you go.
Himlabacken.
Yeah,
Which means
Himlabacken.
Heaven Hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to...
Himlabacken. Did you get that?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. I mean, I'm going to say it, but better coming from you guys. So when we get started, the new album comes out on December 8th. There's a first single out now as we're doing this called Between the Devil and Me. It's fantastic. If you haven't heard the single yet, it is absolutely outstanding. And one of the best songs I think we've all heard this year. Guys, before we get started, honestly, I think coming from Nick and I both, this album has blown us away. Really, if it took 10 years to make this kind of record, you should take 10 years to make every record, because honest to goodness,
Thank you.
It is absolutely breathtaking and fantastic. Nick, I mean, I'm sure you agree.
Oh, well, I had the honor of writing the review for the Prog Report. So wait and see what I had to say about that. But guys, really, I can only echo what Roie has said. I'm utterly blown away by it. I've been a Moonsafari fan forever, since my kids were born. And I want you to know I used to play My Little Man to my son. But I'm already sharing this album because I've had a preview from Roie with my kids already, and it's just fantastic. Everybody's going to love it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Lovely to hear.
I want to go ahead and get started here with some questions for you guys. So, before we get into the new album, for people that maybe aren't aware, because it has been 10 years, maybe we have some new fans of Prog and what we do that aren't familiar with the band. So, Johan, maybe you can give a little bit of a history of the band, where how you guys got started and how you got to this point. So and also the name Moonsafari. Tell us about that.
Well, the name Moonsafari just, I think me and Petter were probably around 16, 17. And I just saw the end of an MTV video, which obviously was Air and Moonsafari. You had that little blob in the bottom of the picture. And I just remember that name. I didn't think too much about the music. And then I mentioned that name to Petter, and then that was 4 or 5 years, or 3 years at least, before we started the band. So it just stuck with us. Like, if we're going to start a band, we should call it this. Like that.
It is a great name. Yeah.
And then Googling you guys is a problem, because every time you Google Moonsafari, Air comes up, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
I don't know if it was. Yeah, I don't know if it was good or bad, but
our next album is gonna be called Air.
Yeah,
there you go.
That would be.
Or in Swedish, it's called Luft.
Luft.
Luft, yeah, as in Lufthansa. So
guys, Air.
There you go. So let's just talk about that 10 years. I mean, Simon left and came back. You guys have all become dads in the meantime, I think, and there have been lineup changes. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the 10 years that we've all been so eagerly anticipating this album, and why it took that amount of time? What has happened in the meantime?
Yeah, I could actually take this one, because I was thinking about it after we talked to Prog, and I remember not explaining it that well. When you sort of break it down, those 10 years sort of make sense in a way. It's like if you just take out, I just go back to spring of 2020 when we were supposed to go on Cruise to the Edge, and that got canceled because of the pandemic.
Right.
We had 3 songs already finished, mixed then, but with a different guy. And then we all decided that we have to try aim higher with the mix, and we got in contact with Rich Mauser, and that happened that same spring, and we started, working on it. But we were sort of on our way, and we stopped. So I mean, it's been a lot of that, just sort of. We could have released it in 2017, but then we, added a few songs and we took out another song. It was, but that was one of the things. Like 2020, we could have done it then, so it would have been out in 2020. We sort of, once the pandemic hit and everything just kind of shut down, we also shut down for a while.
Yeah.
And with the 2014, 2015, when Tobias left and we didn't really know how to proceed, that year just kind of got lost to nothing. Or 2015 and 2017 when Simon wanted to quit, it's just, a year in our lives right now, sort of the little time that we actually have for the band, sort of means that a year can go by really fast.
Right. Pontus,
Sure.
you had something to add to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that, we could release it earlier, but I think we all thought that we can do better than this. So we held on it, I think. We have some quality, but I think we all have agreed on that this next album is going to be the best. And so we didn't, vad säger man, tumma på. We didn't compromise anything.
We didn't compromise.
We didn't compromise anything. So we just left it there. Let's let the time go, and
Well, I think
we let the time
found
go.
ourselves in
look, it paid off. Whatever happened for a reason, I guess, and it worked out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the continuation of the themes from Himlabacken Vol.1. Now it's Himlabacken Vol.2. What was the songwriting process? I know some of the songs are longer standing in history and some of the songs are more recent, but did you go into the songwriting with a specific idea of continuation of the Himlabacken Vol.1 theme, or was there a different idea?
I think lyrically, we just sort of, it's a loose theme, Himlabacken. It's more, it's a little bit about our home village, and it's about our upbringing and romanticizing the past in a way. But I think it's hard to say exactly how much of that we carry to the second one. But we did. I think we've written the best lyrics we've ever written on this one. It's more mature. The themes for the songs are quite distinct from each other, and they all carry some sort of meaning for us. And I suppose they did that on Vol.1 too, but it's more a collection of stories from our lives and stories from our lives, basically, on Vol.1 and 2. Some are more based in reality than others, like Mega Moon was not. It's more of a fantastical story. But on the new album, a song like Between the Devil and Me really has a personal touch, when it's really about Simon's, when he wanted to leave the band. And the way we processed that, and we got back together and wrote that, and sort of it flew off the page, the words for that one. And it's kind of weird because some of the songs are from Forever For You has an early demo version from 2010, I think.
Oh, wow.
And then a couple of the tracks are 2014, one or two from 2016, 2017. Some shorter one later. So it's really hard to say how much we carried, but we've definitely connected in a few reoccurring themes. We used some of the best themes that were under that we didn't use enough, or that we didn't put out as prominently on Volume 1. We wanted to use for Volume 2, and yeah. What do you say, Pontus?
Yeah, they are hints about Volume 1 in Volume 2, musically wise. But and I think that the Volume 2 is continuing, like, if Volume 1 were when we were kids, like Volume 2 is when we were grown up somehow. And of course it's getting a bit darker then.
Right.
What
about the actual writing musically, though? How take Between the Devil and Me, for example, which has been around a few years now, but it's a really expansive song. There's a lot of parts, a lot of stuff going into it, a lot of changes. Where does a song like that start, and how much does it go through before it got to this final version?
There was a demo version of that song that Simon did in 2014. So when we got together to start collecting the songs for Volume 2, early 2014, that was on there. But the only things that are left are basically the theme from the end part, and the chorus, I think. After that, it was not until 2017, after he wanted to quit, he didn't quit, and we got together in the studio, and basically we talked about what was the worst things about his situation, and we knew we had that demo song, but it had more potential. So then we rewrote that and just got a new verse bridge to fit in with that chorus, and then mixed in another part that became the verses where Petter now is singing, like from the band to Simon in the track.
Oh, okay.
But that came together quite easily when we just found that key, how we wanted to, when we wrote the verses and we got a different type of beat to it and a different energy in it. Everything else kind of flew. Once you get up to a certain energy level in a song, it's really easy to carry on with it. You just sort of have to find the key to get there. After that, we had the 3-4 different parts that we can tweak and make variations on to get us to that 10-minute song that you sort of trying to.
I love the sort of retro 80s feel on a lot of the songs. That one has that a lot, and it's done so cool. It's just so much fun. Another part of another song that I wanted to ask about was in the 20-minute song Teen Angel, which is amazing, and it also goes through a million different things. But the part that I love is the middle, that is the London Bridge part. That is just completely just funny and joyous and just a trip. But talk about that part. Where did that come from, and the idea to put that in there? Pontus, if you want to take that one.
Yeah. I think actually it comes from a theme that Simon had from many years ago, like the first theme that comes up, like when it's like a Lydian tone scale. And then if you change the notes a little bit and put it in a major scale, it sounds like London Bridge. So I guess that Petter hear that and come up with lyrics about just that? Or was it? It wasn't you, Johan?
No, that was not me. That's Petter.
Yeah. Because like it's first na 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 na, and then it's na 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 na. It's different, but quite the same anyway.
Clever.
But in a different. I don't know how to explain this, but
no, I got it. It's smart. I mean, it's really cool, and it's
yeah.
highlight,
You heard the
highlight
song.
of the album.
Yeah.
It's very,
London
very cool.
Bridge is falling down, and London Bridge is falling down. Yeah, you get the hints of it.
Just going back to Between the Devil and Me, you guys mentioned that it's got a personal resonance for Simon. You can actually hear, because it's got a darker, heavier tone to it than some of your previous stuff. But you can actually hear when he delivers his lead vocal that it means something to him personally. You know, his voice reaches another level on this one, I think.
Yeah.
We chose to do the demo had all the vocals on the chorus in falsetto, or like the harmonies, and we tried to do it for him to sing that in a full voice. And also the bridge was a really simple thing that we came up with. Just try to use a couple of simple phrases and for him to just sing it. You know, it's really simple, so it's not hard to. You don't have to do it in a technical way, really. It's more power.
Yeah.
Okay, so Heaven Hill, Volume 1, Himlabacken Volume 1, more about your childhoods. Heaven Hill, Himlabacken Volume 2, more about you guys as adults. Most of you guys are young fathers today. Are those themes, which seem to me to permeate the album, very important drivers for the lyrics in this particular album?
Well, for a track like A Lifetime to Learn How to Love, where Pontus wrote all the music and Petter wrote the lyrics, that's basically a message to your kid about how to think about and how to, how to be, all the obstacles and all the things that are going to come up in terms of love later in life. So that's definitely really connected to that.
I want you guys to know that I've played that song to both my kids. I've not shared it because everything's watermarked, but I want you to know that I've played that song to both my kids, and it has resonated personally with all three of us. I want you to know that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites on the album. It's man, it's just a beautiful song. Amazing.
Thank you.
You also have the ending epilogue. It's the one that's in Swedish. That's Petter's a very beautiful little hymn that he wrote that which definitely encapsulates everything about where we grew up and feeling young, and just a very poetic, nice thing that he wrote. It's actually we have to...
it's actually scene from when we all graduated every summer from the church, like the summer break
from school.
Yeah, from school. Yeah, and we all grew up in the same village, and we all know that magical feeling when you're in a minute I gotta have summer break, and then you sit in the church and you have the school ending stuff going on, and the last epilogue is like what it sounds like when we were 1 minute before going to spring break, summer break.
Yeah, that's great. There's also, you talked about it having a little bit of a heavier, darker side. You have a ex Black Bonzo drummer, Michael Israelson, playing with you guys. talk about that and what that had, what effect that had on some of the music also?
You can take that one, Pontus.
Yeah, I think that had really good impression on us because he's very what do you say? He is very he's a really good producer and like he's really musical. He's actually a pianist or a synthesizer guy. So he's really is a musical guy, but he is he likes of course the more low end heavy stuff. Like it has to be a like, ooh, it's gonna be a punch in your stomach. Like so he brought that into us, I guess.
I mean, I have to also...
He's so tight. His double kick patterns are so precise.
Yeah. He's a really good drummer, really tight,
really easy to play with. But you have to remember, I mean, we've been seeing him as a drummer from maybe around 2000. I think it was 2004, where he went over from playing keyboards for the band Black Bonzo to playing drums.
Yeah.
And I remember around 2007 they released their second album, and they really put the drums in front in the mix, and you could really hear how he drove the music forward. He in a way that I haven't heard many drummers do that. He's not resting. He's sort of he can really create a big sound with his drums, which is the first time we rehearsed with him as well. You can just sort of feel the kick drum in a different way. And it doesn't play loud just to play loud. He plays it distinctly, and he keeps the cymbals to a minimum, and the way he tunes his drums and everything. He's a really good drummer. You sort of hear the difference when he Black Bonzo, when they ended the band and they moved on to play as another band called Gin Lady. You could tell the difference that it's not the same band anymore. He really defined their sound with his the pressure he put on the music in a way. So it's
and I think musically you can be a guy that's like melodies and harmonies, or you can be a guy that likes drum and bass. It's like the opposite. And I mean the modern music today is like only drum and bass. You hear the cars driving by like and that's the only thing that the kids are listening to. We Moon Safari were, I guess we all were like the melody and the harmonies, and I guess Michael contributed with the drum and bass in a very musically way to contribute to the Moon Safari harmonies and vocals and stuff.
Okay, so Johan, Pontus, I'm a big fan of the band, not only studio-wise, but live as well. And I've seen you guys several times on Cruise to the Edge, and I do not miss a Moon Safari gig on Cruise to the Edge ever. Even when you guys got blown off the outside stage by the wind and you ended up inside. So I've got to ask you this question. I mean, I know this question is probably de rigueur for you guys, but those harmonies are just next level. You do some of the verses in 5-part harmony. Sometimes you guys do 6-part harmony. It's kind of, to me, almost more jazz than it is rock or pop in terms of the arrangements. But of course, we got to ask you this question. How do you guys come up with those vocal arrangements? How do the vocal setups work? I mean, you've got tonal scales going on all over the place there. Is it T1 Simon, T2 Petter, T3 yourself, Pontus, T4 Johan, or are you the back? How do you work out those harmonies? Is it all just Simon, or do you guys work together on
that? I think we have to get all the arrangement all to Simon there. yeah, he is the mastermind in that. It's like we say like, ooh, we hear a party, and then like, oh, here it should be like 5 or 4 part harmony stuff. Can you do it like? Can it sound like Queen, or can it sound like Moon Safari, or can it sound like just 3 part? And he's like, he's just closing his eyes and then went silent for a minute. I think he's playing the piano. He looks exactly like this. And then like a minute later, he has the arrangement. So it's no one understands actually. His sick brain.
Yeah, he's got a sick brain. The first couple of albums, when we were in the studio, in the control room, and he went out to the mic. You could see him through the glass, and he just needed a couple of minutes for a certain section, and then he could put down all the 4 or 5 harmonies. He just sort of one take after another. They were in his head. As long as he figured out the arrangement, it was magic to see for someone who didn't come from that background at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually wish everyone to see what they hear on the album, to see how we do it in the studio when Simon is working is incredible, actually.
You should put out some of that behind the scenes
great
stuff.
idea.
Yeah. What's that?
I mean, you guys really should do a making of to show us the way video of the process is.
Yeah. I think we've never.
It's true that his influences go way back beyond and before the Beatles, right? To vocal groups that influenced perhaps the Beatles.
Yeah, exactly. We're grown up we're 3 brothers in the band. Our father's favorite vocal, he is very into vocal groups and stuff. His favorite arranger was named Gene Perling. And he wrote a lot of crazy jazz arrangements before its time. It's like in the 50s, very crazy but totally correct, like theoretical. What do you say?
Theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically. He was a genius, and that's Simon's influence as well, and that's also Brian Wilson's influence.
Right.
So many people say that we sound like Beach Boys on prog.
Yeah, that's what I've told people.
Guys. But I guess that's why we have the same main influence, because we're not actually that influenced by the Beach Boys. I would say more the Beatles in that case. But I guess we have the same main influence.
You've kind of gone on record once before, I think, in an interview that I read, as saying that you're not really a progressive rock band, but you just like the sort of embracing and acceptance that comes within the progressive rock genre and from progressive rock fans, of the length, the depth, the complexity of your music, and that you don't actually categorize yourselves necessarily as a prog band. I've always seen you as a prog band. Sorry, we've got power outages here, so forgive me if I'm in the dark. But don't worry, my internet's not going down, Roy. Yeah, I've got an inverter. So I just wanted to ask you, can you elaborate on that perception that you're not a prog band per se?
I think when we started the band, we were definitely into Genesis, yes, Pink Floyd, listening to a lot of prog, but also stuff like Jellyfish, The Beatles were always there in the background. So Supertramp, different stuff, but which some of those bands sometimes sound just like a prog band. You wouldn't be able to say it's not or that it is. So, but I don't think we mind being called a progressive rock band or a prog band. It's served us well to be in this genre. We have met so many amazing people, and I wouldn't want to criticize that label. There's a lot of great prog that we love, but we're not. If you ask Simon to name 10 prog songs, he couldn't do it. So in that sense, we're not really a prog band that way. A couple of us were really into that, and we had ways of pitching ideas and also, thinking thematically about albums in a certain way that made it more prog. But I wouldn't say that the whole band like that formed as a prog band. It was just, it could have sounded like Supertramp or 10cc with shorter songs, which we did make a couple of shorter songs in the beginning that never got on the first album. They were cut by Thomas Bodin. He felt we should keep it quite a clean progressive rock album, the first one, which made a lot of sense. And we haven't really made any pure pop stuff since then either.
Yeah.
We didn't ask you guys about working with Rich Mauser, which we should have asked about. But how did you get in touch with Rich and talk about what he did with the record? Because the album, on top of the songs being amazing, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I don't know how we did. We like search up where albums we liked. Who has mixed these albums? Right. And
no, it was 2017. Yeah. We were in we played Rossfest, and Neil Moore's band was there. Yeah, I think they were supposed to play the day after, but they were there, and I think he saw us play, or at least he came to the after party that night, and we were singing some harmonies or something like that. And then we talked to him then, and we exchanged contact, and after that, it was only a couple of years after that when we started mixing the first track with him, and then it took like 6 months until we did the other one, and then it took another 3 months for the third one, and but so that was 2017 so that was nice to get a face. Otherwise I don't think we would have gone down that road unless we'd actually met him. He seemed into the same stuff in a way.
Well, the album does sound fat. Lots of bottom end, lots of clarity, lots of separation, and pretty proggy, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I hate to tell you guys, it definitely sounds like a prog record to us.
Yeah. Nobody's.
So unfortunately, you guys aren't on the next Cruise to the Edge, which is unfortunate. Would have loved to have seen some of this stuff live on there, but are you planning some shows? Is there a tour going to happen around this? Do you think you'll make it to the States or a future cruise or something so we can see some of this new material?
Oh yes, I mean, I think we talked about, we wanted to get, the focus was getting the album out, getting the music out, and then seeing where it took us in a way, because we kind of felt like if we booked too many shows ahead of the album released and we did a tour just around the release, we'd probably get a lot more people in through the doors if we do it a bit later. And I think considering the reactions to the album so far, I think it's good to not play right away when it's released, because we're going to grow as a band with this album and probably get more money from promoters or venues and stuff, so better deals all around.
Yeah, I hope so.
We got some stuff lined up. Yeah.
Again, guys, It's just such a great record. I can't wait for people to finally hear the whole thing. It comes out on December 8th. I think December 6th in Japan, I think supposedly.
Yeah.
Himlabacken Vol.2. Nick, you got any final words on this thing?
Yeah, I just want to say that for me, Swedish progressive rock is just astounding, continues to take my breath away. And for me, guys, after this album, my feelings are entrenched that you are one of the three most important progressive rock bands that has come out of Sweden. And really nothing more to say than that. Congratulations. This is a fantastic album. Everybody get a copy. You will not be sorry.
Well, where can people get the record? You have a bunch of links. I mean, where can they find out all the information on Facebook, on Instagram, on your website? What's the main place to send people?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and also now Pontus set up a TikTok, which we haven't really started using yet. But it's all
it's for the kids. It's for the kids.
Yeah, it's for the kids.
Yeah,
hey, listen, get on TikTok and start showing how you do those vocal harmonies and let people see it. I think that's what will set people excited about it.
Yeah, but just search Moon Safari Official on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. It should
TikTok is the same. Moon Safari Official. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, again, bravo, and we'll talk again soon. Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speak soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on all our socials and on progreport.com for all your news, interviews, reviews, and more. And we'll see you again real soon.